You think racism is something you only hear about in the news, right? But what if I told you it happened to Michael B. Jordan at one of the most exclusive restaurants in Los Angeles? A place where money, fame, and status should have been enough to get a seat at the table? But instead, Michael was turned away. The shocking reason? It wasn't about capacity. It wasn't even about reservations. Stay tuned to find out how this incident exposed the ugly side of high-end dining and why it sparked a firestorm that no one saw coming. Michael B. Jordan, an Oscar-nominated actor, a successful director, and a passionate advocate for change, walks into one of the most prestigious restaurants in Los Angeles. It should have been just another night to celebrate his incredible achievements. But what happened next? Something that no one could have predicted. Michael was denied entry, not because of a reservation mix-up or overbooked tables, but because he didn't fit the brand. What followed was more than just a bad experience. It exposed the harsh reality of racism even in the most elite spaces. And it's a story that's still sending shockwaves through the entertainment world. This wasn't just an isolated incident. It's a story about what happens when the doors to the exclusive world are slammed in your face. Michael B. Jordan steps out of his car in front of Lum Zone, a sleek luxury restaurant in the heart of Los Angeles. The golden hour sun casts a warm glow over the city, and everything feels perfect. Tonight was supposed to be a celebration, an evening to unwind after months of nonstop work, Oscar nominations, the success of his directorial debut, and the launch of his foundation to uplift young Black creatives. His assistant, Lila, checks her phone one last time. "We're all set. They're expecting us at 7:30 sharp," she confirms. Michael smiles, feeling the weight of the past few months lifting as they approach the entrance. This isn't just about good food, it's about sharing this success with the people who supported him every step of the way. But as soon as they step inside, the mood shifts. A young hostess, her smile stiff, eyes flicking to the screen in front of her, doesn't seem as welcoming as she should be. She pauses, typing something into the system. "I'm sorry, but we don't have a reservation under that name." Michael's brow furrows, but his tone remains calm. "There must be some mistake. We confirmed earlier today." Lila, always prepared, pulls up the confirmation email. "We're booked for 6 at 7:30, she adds, but the hostess barely glances at it before shaking her head. "We're fully booked tonight," she says, her voice flat, distant. The confusion grows as Michael looks over to Lila, who's already checking the reservation again, certain that something's wrong. "We had the reservation confirmed," Lila insists. But the hostess stands firm. Something doesn't add up. The group moves aside, trying to figure out what's going on, but all they see are other groups slipping by with ease. No questions asked, no problems. A young couple, dressed casually in streetwear, strolls up. The hostess barely checks their reservation, if she does at all, and with a smile she waves them through the door without hesitation. No fuss, no second thoughts. And then a small group of businessmen walks up, 2 white men and 1 Asian. The hostess doesn't just seat them, she personally escorts them to a table, guiding them past the waiting area with a practiced ease. Michael watches, his pulse beginning to race. His friend Marcus mutters under his breath, "Maybe they've got the right look." Michael doesn't say anything at first, but his jaw tightens. He's seen this before. This wasn't about reservations. It wasn't about capacity. There was something deeper going on here, and it was aimed directly at him and his group. As the minutes tick by, Michael and his group linger near the entrance, each of them trying to make sense of what just happened. The hostess's forced politeness only adds to the awkward tension, and no one says a word. Michael, ever the calm observer, shifts his weight slightly, scanning the scene. It's almost as if time is moving in slow motion. Everything feels surreal, like this couldn't really be happening. He watches the young white couple stroll past once more, laughing as they're escorted straight inside. Their casual dress stands in stark contrast to the upscale atmosphere of the restaurant, yet no one questions them. No hesitation, No wait. Michael feels a knot tighten in his stomach, but he remains still. His eyes narrow as another group arrives, a trio of businessmen, 2 white and 1 Asian. The hostess greets them immediately, and without missing a beat, the manager himself walks over, offering a handshake. He leads them straight to a prime table, clearly visible from where Michael is standing. Not once does the manager ask for a reservation. At this point, the frustration is palpable. Michael and Lila exchange looks. Something's off. The group's unease shifts into anger, but Michael stays composed. He turns to Marcus, his childhood friend, whispering just loud enough for him to hear. "Did you see that? They didn't even check the reservation." Marcus barely nods, muttering under his breath. Maybe they've got the right look. But Michael's not just going to let it go. He knows the game. He's been here before. The restaurant's atmosphere, a soft hum of jazz music and the clink of fine glassware, suddenly feels suffocating. Michael is keenly aware of the disparity between how his group is being treated and how others are moving through the door without a problem. He's been a public figure for years, and this isn't the first time he's faced discrimination. But this is different. This is blatant. This is personal. Just as Michael is about to turn and suggest they leave, a young server carrying a tray of wine glasses approaches. The server pauses, noticing Michael's presence. Michael gives him a nod, and the server hesitates for a moment, as if weighing whether to say something. Then quietly, the server leans in and says, "Mr. Jordan, I'm a huge fan of your work. I loved Just Mercy. It really inspired me." Michael smiles faintly, grateful for the compliment, but before he can respond, the server lowers his voice, almost whispering, "I don't know if I should be saying this, but I overheard the manager earlier. He told the staff not to seat you." Michael's face remains calm, though his heart skips a beat. "Not to seat me?" he asks. The server nods, his voice lower still. "He said something about maintaining the restaurant's brand. He didn't think your group fit the image they were trying to project." The words hit like a punch to the gut. "Maintaining the brand?" Michael repeats, the calmness in his voice now gone. The server, looking uncomfortable, shifts his weight, glancing over his shoulder to ensure no one's listening. "I'm sorry," he says, stepping back. "I just thought you should know." A heavy silence falls over Michael and his group. The server quickly walks away, but his words hang in the air like a damning revelation. Michael's jaw tightens. He looks at Lila, then at Marcus, who is visibly fuming now. They've all heard enough. Michael steps toward the hostess stand again, his demeanor unchanged, but his presence more commanding. "I'd like to speak to the manager," he says, his voice steady, but there's an edge to it now. The hostess hesitates for just a moment before signaling for the manager to come over. The manager arrives with his usual practiced smile, but this time, Michael's not having it. "There's a problem here," Michael says evenly, locking eyes with the manager. "I've been watching people without reservations walk right in while we've been turned away. Care to explain?" The manager's smile doesn't falter, but it doesn't reach his eyes. He shifts uncomfortably. "We've had some unexpected issues with capacity tonight," he says, his voice dripping with a tone of rehearsed politeness. "I'm really sorry, but there's nothing I can do." Michael stares at him for a moment, assessing. His voice is low, almost dangerous as he repeats, "Nothing personal?" The manager nods, trying to hold his ground. "That's right. It's just a matter of capacity." But Michael's not convinced. He takes a step closer, his tone sharp now. "Then why did one of your staff members just tell me you instructed them not to seat us?" The manager's eyes flicker for the briefest moment, a crack in his calm exterior. But he quickly recovers, raising his hands in mock defense. "I don't know what you're talking about," he says, his voice laced with defensive irritation. "We treat all of our guests equally." Michael's gaze hardens, his voice unwavering. "Do you? Because what I've seen tonight doesn't say that." The manager's facade cracks for just a moment, And in that instant, Michael knows exactly what's going on. "We have to maintain a certain standard here," the manager says, his words dripping with a defensive, almost patronizing tone. "Our clientele expects a particular atmosphere." Michael's voice is cold, but sharp. "A particular atmosphere? Is that what this is about? You're telling me that my group doesn't fit the brand you're trying to project?" Before the manager can respond, another voice cuts through the tension. Michael turns to see none other than Matthew McConaughey, strolling in like he owns the place. His easy smile and relaxed demeanor are a stark contrast to the charged atmosphere that has been building. Matthew scans the scene, his eyes landing on Michael and the manager. "Now, why is a guy like Michael B. Jordan getting the cold shoulder?" he asks, his voice loud enough for others to hear. The manager stammers, clearly thrown off, but McConaughey doesn't give him the chance to speak. "Let me guess, something about reservations and capacity, right?" The manager opens his mouth, but McConaughey raises a hand. "Save it," he cuts in. "If this is how you treat people, maybe this place isn't worth our time. Come on, Michael, let's find somewhere better." The atmosphere shifts instantly. Other diners, who had been pretending not to notice, begin to whisper among themselves. One by one, a few of them start to get up and leave, quietly protesting. Michael nods at McConaughey, a silent thank you in his eyes. The two walk out together, leaving the restaurant's staff and patrons in stunned silence. The story of Michael B. Jordan and the Lum Zone incident didn't end with the restaurant's closure. It didn't even end with the bankruptcy filings or the PR disaster. What followed was something much larger, a shift in how we view the intersection of race, privilege, and power in the high-end world. And Michael wasn't just part of that shift. He became one of its key architects. When Lum Zone closed its doors for good, Michael saw an opportunity not just to close a chapter, but to open a new one, a more inclusive chapter, one where people from all walks of life, no matter their race, could sit at the table without feeling like they didn't belong. He wasn't going to just talk about change, he was going to make it happen. And so, he did. He teamed up with a collective of Black and minority-owned restaurateurs, pooling their resources and vision to purchase the very building that had once housed the exclusive racist institution. Together, they transformed the space into something far more meaningful, a space that, in every sense of the word, would be the antithesis of everything Lum Zone had come to represent. The result was Table of Us, a restaurant that would champion diversity, inclusivity, and excellence in every facet of its design. From the menu, which celebrated the rich culinary traditions of cultures often overlooked in fine dining, to the artwork on the walls, which featured the work of underrepresented artists, Table of Us was built from the ground up to reflect the very values Michael had fought for his entire career: representation, equality, and a seat at the table for all. The opening night of Table of Us was a star-studded event. Celebrities, activists, community leaders, and everyday people gathered to show their support for the new establishment. Matthew McConaughey, who had stood by Michael's side during the Lum Zone incident, was among the first to arrive. His easy smile and familiar presence were a stark contrast to the tension of the previous night, but it felt like the perfect full-circle moment. "I love what you've done with the place," Matthew joked, clapping Michael on the back. Michael smiled, but there was something deeper in his eyes. "It's about more than food," he said quietly. "It's about changing what spaces like this represent. It's about showing the world that excellence isn't just defined by who's allowed to be here. It's about giving everyone the chance to prove their worth, to see their culture celebrated, to belong." That night, the world got its first taste of what Michael had envisioned. A fine dining experience that didn't just cater to a select few, but to everyone, from every background, every culture, every identity. It was a statement that said, "We belong here, all of us." In the months that followed, Table of Us became a beacon of what's possible when people refuse to accept the status quo. Michael and his team put in the hard work of building something that wasn't just a restaurant, but a movement. A place where people came not just to eat, but to be seen. where the food was incredible, but so was the message. It wasn't long before the accolades started pouring in. Table of Us quickly became a staple in Los Angeles's fine dining scene, but its reputation wasn't just built on the food. It was built on the inclusivity that radiated from every corner. It was built on the idea that true excellence in any field isn't just about technical skills or a flawless facade. It's about creating a space where everyone can thrive, feel welcomed, and celebrated for who they are. And then, the unthinkable happened. Table of Us received a Michelin star. It was the first Black-owned restaurant in Los Angeles to earn the prestigious accolade. Michael, ever humble, took the stage to accept the honor. But instead of making it about himself, he made it about the movement that had gotten him here. "This isn't just my win," he said, his voice carrying across the room. "This is for everyone who's ever been told they don't belong. This is proof that we do." The room erupted into applause. The standing ovation wasn't just for Michael, it was for every person who had ever faced discrimination, for every artist who had been pushed to the margins, for every person who had been told their voice didn't matter. It was a victory for the future, a signal that the world was changing. That night, at Table of Us, Michael stood in the center of it all, his mission realized, his purpose fulfilled. But even then, he wasn't finished. Michael had always said that the work wasn't about any one person or any one place. It was about changing the way the world viewed racial equity and ensuring that future generations wouldn't have to fight the same battles. The Michelin star was a testament to that work, a sign that change was possible. But Michael knew that the real victory wasn't the award. It was the ripple effect it created. It was about inspiring others to build their own tables, to demand spaces that see their worth, and to redefine what excellence looks like in every industry. And as for Lum Zone, it was a reminder of what can happen when a space refuses to change, when it clings to the outdated notion that only a select few deserve access to privilege. Its closure was inevitable, but it was Michael's vision, his resilience, and his willingness to stand up against discrimination that turned it into something greater than just a moment of personal injustice. In the end, Michael B. Jordan didn't just take down a racist institution, he built something that would outlast it. Table of Us wasn't just about good food, it was about showing the world that we all have a place at the table. That, in the end, is what true success looks like. Thank you for watching. If you found this story gripping and want to hear more dramatic stories like this one, be sure to hit the subscribe button and join our community. Don't forget to leave us your impressions in the comments. Your opinion counts. Stay tuned for more exciting content and see you in the next video.